Relationships get people on the bus. Results keep them there. It's not enough to be likable. You've got to lead somewhere worth going. So let's talk about how the best leaders build trust and deliver results. Early in my career, I helped open a restaurant on the West Coast. From day one, we built a culture that was rich in connection. We had 6 core pillars we lived by, and our leadership team modeled them well. People felt heard, supported, and part of something meaningful, which is key to developing a great relationship. But over time, something started to shift. We weren't seeing the results we expected. Sales were off, performance was inconsistent, and the momentum we started with began to stall. And what happened next was eye-opening. Our top performers, the ones that carried our culture and raised the bar, started to leave. Meanwhile, the ones who were just there for a paycheck stayed. That experience taught me something I've seen play out over and over. People want to be part of something that's both healthy and winning. Culture might get them in the door, but results are what keep them in the room. It's why so many people flock to high-performing teams or companies. They want to work somewhere that's moving, growing, and thriving, not because they don't care about connection, but because they want to be on a team that knows where it's going and how to get there. Relationships get people on the bus. So let's look at college football recruiting as an example. These days, it's not just about facilities or traditions, it's about trust. Coaches are in the living rooms, building relationships with players and their families. They cast vision, talk development, and make it personal. A lot of recruits choose a school not because of the logo on the helmet, but because of the connection they feel with a coach. Now, you might be saying in today's age in college football, NIL becomes a big factor. And to some extent it is. But if it's in the same ballpark, the tiebreaker typically isn't the money, it's the relationships. If the financial incentives are close, most players choose the program where they feel seen, supported, and connected to someone they trust. But here's the catch. That relationship can only carry so much weight. If the coach leaves or the team underperforms, that same player who once felt deeply connected might be in the transfer portal by the end of the season. Not because they don't care, but because the original connection isn't enough to justify staying if the results aren't there. Relationships open the door. They invite people onto the bus. But if that bus isn't going anywhere, or worse, going in circles, people will get off. People join teams where they feel valued. When everything else is equal, relationships win. But relationships without direction won't keep people. The best leaders know how to connect and how to move the team forward. Now, relationships get people on the bus, but results keep people on the bus. The best example I could think of is the NCAA transfer portal. It completely changed the game. A player might commit to a school because they trust the coach, love the culture, and feel like they're part of a family. But fast forward a season or two, if they're not developing, not getting enough playing time, or the team isn't winning, they're gone. That initial relationship got them in the door, but the lack of progress is what pushed them back out. We're seeing the same exact trend in the workplace. A lot of leaders think, well, my team likes me, so we must be good. But that's only half the picture. People want to grow, get better, and feel like the work they're doing actually matters. They want to know specifically, am I learning something here? Is this team going somewhere? And do I have a future here? You could have an incredible vibe and a team that generally gets along, but if people aren't seeing results, whether that's hitting team goals, getting promoted, or even just seeing their work make a difference, they'll start checking out. Maybe quietly, maybe all at once. People might join a team for the culture, but they stay for the progress. Results give purpose to the relationship. When people feel like they're part of a team that's winning, they're far more likely to stay invested. Now, relationships and results are okay on their own, but the best leaders drive both. Now, let's talk about 2 highly successful coaches in college football, Nick Saban and Deion Sanders. Nick Saban wasn't known for being warm and fuzzy. He wasn't out there making TikToks with his players, but here's what he did do. He created a culture of relentless development. Every player knew exactly what was expected, what success looked like, and how they'd be held accountable to get there. It's not about comfort, it was about clarity and consistency. That's why so many players went to the NFL right out of Alabama. It's results-driven leadership at its finest. Now flip the script, Deion Sanders. Coach Prime walks into a room with swagger, energy, and emotional intelligence that pulls people in. He builds belief. He looks his players in the eyes and says, I believe in you. And people follow that. But here's the key. He doesn't stop at inspiration. He sets insanely high standards. He talks about discipline, attention to detail, and earning your spot every day. It's not just feel-good leadership, it's results with relationships. They do it differently, but both get this right. People stay when they feel connected and when they see progress. Great leadership lives at the intersection of connection and clarity. You've got to make people feel seen, but you also need to show them where you're going and what it takes to get there. The best leaders don't choose between relationships or results, they build both. And that's what keeps the bus full and moving forward. So let's talk about RIDE, a practical way to lead with both heart and results. R stands for relationships first. Start by building trust. People don't follow leaders they don't believe in. Before you ask for effort, create safety. Learn their story, understand what drives them, sit down and ask real questions and listen, not to respond, but to connect. When people feel seen, heard, and valued, they'll lean in. That connection, it's the foundation for everything that comes next. I stands for invest in development. Don't just connect, coach. Grow people in a way that's tangible. Help them grow in real, tangible ways. That might mean setting clear goals, offering feedback even when it's tough, or putting them in stretch assignments that build confidence. Coaching isn't just correcting, it's calling out what's possible and walking with them to get there. Growth is a better retention tool than free snacks and ping pong tables. And D stands for deliver consistent results. Create wins, momentum, and progress they can see. People don't stay on a bus that's going in circles. Set goals, measure progress, and celebrate even the small wins along the way. When your team sees traction, when they know that their effort is making a difference, they buy in deeper. Don't just track KPIs, translate them into stories that remind your team why their work matters. And lastly, E. E stands for evaluate and adapt. Keep checking in. Don't assume people are still bought in. Confirm it. Leadership isn't set it and forget it. Culture changes, needs evolve, and what worked last year might not work next month. Ask questions, run pulse surveys, check the temperature of your team, not just in performance, but in morale. If someone's disengaging, don't wait for the exit interview to find out why. Now ask yourself, are people with you because of who you are or where you're going? And then ask, how can I lead in a way that builds both trust and traction? And if you have any of those ideas, pop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leadership isn't about picking between relationships and results. It's about building both. Because when you connect and deliver, people won't just get on the bus, they'll stay on it. Thanks guys for listening. And if you learned something during this episode, hit that like and subscribe button. It'll help me out a lot. And then ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on any more content. And we'll see you guys next week. Peace.